thank you all for coming and like logging in and having a quick chat with me. I've been listening to Last Fall in the Line. Absolutely love it. So
Thank you.
I like the really like bluesy feel to it. It's really really good. There will be a link, don't worry, in the bottom so people can find it. Um, I do have to ask you about the video. That video is brilliant. That's been put together, like the artistry and everything. Where did that come from? Like the idea for it.
Um, our buddy Andy over at Very Metal Art did the video, and he was asking me. He's like, what's the concept for this? What you got for me to go on? And I was like, man, I collect a lot of pulp cover books, pulp cover magazines from like
Mhm.
40s, 50s, 60s, and it's kind of like when you hear the lyrics of the song, like my buddy from the Headhunters, Fred Young says, it's kind of like shady character music. I mean, it's kind of like a story that you would hear in the smoking section, or in a backstreet bar somewhere. And that's kind of where the most interesting stories are told. So I kind of like the idea of incorporating that type of pulp art into what we were doing. So Andy took it and ran with it and just nailed it. Actually, he didn't once he showed us the video, that was it. We didn't ask for any more edits. We're just like, yeah, man, let's go with that.
Yeah, yeah, because the actual like, artistry of it is fantastic. I do
Oh
like the
yeah.
fact he's put the lyrics in there as well. Um, just so obviously people can sort of like keep up with it. But with the actual song, where did you get your inspiration for the song?
Oh well, it musically comes from a lot of soul music that we've been listening to, like a lot of 60s stuff that was done on Atlantic Records, which is more like Southern soul music, but also we
Mhm.
were listening to Motown stuff as well, which is more like Northern soul. Uh,
Mhm.
but the initial idea for the riff came from a Marvellette song I was listening to called "Danger and Heartbreak Dead Ahead," and it's got kind of this looping kind of riff that was kind of where we got the idea. When we did this in the studio, it was interesting because listening to it on the playback, what Alex and I were playing together on guitar, when you hear the two guitars together, it almost sounds like electric piano or something, which was cool, which was the vibe we were going for. But lyrically, it's just kind of like a kind of a tale of bad luck. Sometimes bad things happen to people, but it doesn't define the person. You can still make mistakes and be a good guy at the end of the day. And that's kind of what the tale we're telling's about.
So how was it for you all, like in the studio, putting your own little bit to it? Was it all just
Uh,
sort of like you just come with the odd track, like what you've done so far, and then everyone sort of like adds to it?
come on in there, Dale.
Well, we when we first started playing together, this was one of the first songs that I remember us like when I came into the band and Alex was a new addition. This was one of the first songs that we had worked on that hadn't been released. We hadn't done much with, and I think Boone and John kind of had an idea before Otis took that hiatus of, okay, well, this is kind of how we want things to happen. So they brought it into us, and we added our own flavor to it. But the song is just so um, what's the word I'm looking for here? The song is it's got such a rhythm to it that there's such a perfect part that we could all play there. So my part was easy. Alex's part was easy because the song is so well put together and based on everything else that I've ever done. So it was really really fun getting into the studio to do it because I only remember us playing it like maybe two or three times and then we just overdubbed solos and stuff. So it was like putting on an old glove.
All right, that's very cool. That's very cool. What about you, John?
We tracked it mostly, like Dale was saying, live in the studio. We did all the rhythm tracks, bass tracks, drum tracks all at once together, and then came back and overdubbed it. And the song was mostly finished, before we went into studio. We knew exactly how we wanted it to play out, with the exception of maybe some tasteful changes in lead parts or whatever that just came naturally in studio. But it was a knock it out of the park kind of a song for studio day.
Well, that's good. And because sometimes you could be in the studio for days couldn't you, trying to get a song right. So it's nice when it actually all sort of flows and all comes together quite nicely.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we actually finished. There's a Break in the Road, our previous single, and
Mhm.
Last Fool in the Line on the same day in studio. So we've actually had this one sitting in the can for a bit, waiting for the right time to put it out.
Excellent. So is there going to be any more singles or maybe an EP or an album coming up?
We got some tricks up our sleeve. We haven't quite figured out what we're going to do yet, but when we do it, it's going to be good. I mean, obviously our main goal is to put out a full length release because that's the
Mhm.
way we like to listen to music. We're very album oriented band, but kind of the nature of the beast right now is putting out some singles, and that's what everybody seems to be doing. So you're definitely going to hear more from us. That's for sure.
Good. That's good. I like to hear that. Have you got any gigs or anything coming up?
Oh yeah, we're starting to pick up and be super busy this weekend. We're playing in down in Georgia. We're doing a thing called the Georgia Mountain Moonshine Cruise In, which is like a classic car, muscle car show, and we're opening for the Kentucky Headhunters, great friends of ours.
Oh,
And
that's very cool.
yeah, yeah, and then Saturday we're doing a headlining show at this blues club called Mojo's Boneyard. So if it's interesting as it sounds, we're in for a good night, I think.
Yeah, that sounds like a very interesting venue. I like the name. That is very cool. Um, so you said you've got some tricks up your sleeve. Does that mean you're writing and
Oh
things
yeah,
for an album?
we're writing. It's like every time we get together to rehearse, it turns into a writing session because we just have so many ideas. So writing songs is not a difficult thing for us to do. So there's definitely going to be more music, and there's some live things that are floating around that we've talked about releasing as well. Like I said, we were definitely have a full length release. We just don't know when yet.
You've got to make them all perfect first.
Yeah, there you go.
Excellent. And I was wondering, like the name of the band, Otis. Where did that come from?
That came from the guitarist from the Kentucky Headhunters, Craig Martin. It was kind of his idea. And back in
Right.
the 70s, there was a band, a three-piece blues band called Otis that played in Louisville, Kentucky, but they never quite made it. So he's like, you guys should take that name and kind of keep that, Kentucky blues thing going. So we adopted the name, and it seems to fit us perfectly. It's a very, very simple name. And people seem to gravitate to it, and it made a good logo. Looks cool on a t-shirt, so I think we
Yeah.
did all right.
I wasn't expecting it to be one of those where it's the first letter of your first names or something like that. And then I saw all your names and I was like, no, that's not how it goes.
No, that's that ain't it.
But no, that's pretty cool. And how did you all get together?
John and I kind of formed a band and kicked off things first. We all come from a really musical background, musical families. Like my grandfather was a bluegrass fiddler, like Dale's dad. He's a luthier musician. John's got all kinds of music in his family as well. So it was always there in the background of
Mhm.
us growing up. And then, as we got older, we're like, we don't really want to play cover songs. We don't want to be in a cover
Mhm.
band. We want to do something more meaningful and kind of incorporate all the influences, all the stuff we grew up with, whether it be Lightning Hopkins or Bad Company or Steely Dan or whatever it may be. Kind of put it all into a pot and mix it up and put it out there. And that's what we did. And of course, Alex and Dale are the latest additions to the band. And people seem to be really, really into this lineup of the band, which is a great thing. It's a lot more powerful, and looking forward to bringing it back to the UK to so folks can hear this lineup.
Yeah, yeah, it'd be good to see you over here. I'd quite like to hear the new song live. I think that would be quite good as a live song.
Oh, it's really fun to play live.
Excellent. So do you have plans at the moment to come over, or is that something that's in the pipeline?
It's in the pipeline. There's some talk, and of course, last time we came over, we had a blast. We got to play Ramblin' Man Fair, and we got to play Berg Herzberg over in Germany, and we did some shows with Almond Betts, and just had a great time. So looking forward to getting the opportunity to do that again.
I was at two of the Rambling Mans. I'll be very upset with myself if I missed you.
Uh, it was the summer of 2019.
Oh, okay. I'll be let off with that one. I wasn't at that one. The Rambling Man was a great festival. We've that one doesn't run anymore, but there's still one in the same place called Made of Stone, that happened at the weekend. So I think you'd be a good addition to that. If you want to come next year, you've got a couple of months to get that sorted.
Yeah, we would love to come do it, and we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Hopefully I'll be there again next year.
There you go.
Excellent. Okay, well, thank you. That's sort of like all the questions I had. Is there anything you wanted to let everyone know that's coming up, or any particular gigs other than the festival at the weekend and the gig? Anything big
Uh,
coming up?
No, we're getting ready to announce a show, which is really cool. We are
Okay.
opening for Tommy's Rock Trip at Knuckleheads in Kansas City. And of course, Tommy is a very well-known session drummer. He's been with Black Sabbath, Ozzy, Alice Cooper, Rob Zombie. So it'll be fun to get to do a show with him. And like Knuckleheads is like a legendary biker bar in Kansas City. So it's going to be a really
Knuckleheads.
cool. Yeah, it's gonna be a cool one for us. But yeah, we got some cool stuff coming up. Just keep up with everything we got going on at theotisband.com.